Welcome back, Wildcat fans, to episode 7 of the Inside Out Show, presented by Carburritos. We are into the nitty-gritty of the season now. Conference slate is in full swing, and we have an action-packed episode for you today. We got all the classics. We got a recap of our last few games. We have Swish and Brick.
We also have a lovely interview with Issy Morgan, who
We
came
do.
on, our first women's basketball player to have on the program, and she was great. She was a great guest.
Absolutely.
So
it was a lot of fun.
you guys have that to look forward to as well, which is going to be awesome.
We have a starting five. We're talking Olympic sports.
With the Winter Olympics
today.
in full swing over wherever they are.
Well, X Games. We got X Games in full swing.
The X Games. Oops.
The Summer Olympics from this summer. We got a Netflix show coming out about some of the basketball teams that competed in that.
Oh, cool.
In Paris. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit, and just talk about our season. So let's get into recapping some conference games.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've played a lot of games. Conference plays in full swing, and you play so many games in conference play that we've got a lot to talk about. So.
It does feel a little bit repetitive, but we're gonna kick it off with Fordham.
Yes.
Big win at home against Fordham, who
great.
It feels like we've played them a million times now since
like
coming
I know every
here.
single one of their players.
I think this was my 7th time. It was my 6th or 7th time.
Yeah,
I think it was my 6th.
This is my second season, and I've played them 4 times already. So.
Yeah, I want to say maybe it was my 5th actually, because I played him. It was my 6th. Yes, it was my 6th.
Thank you.
They're ringing in from the
Thank
booth.
you.
It was my 6th time playing them, which is crazy for only being my 3rd year. We do know them very well.
Yeah.
And it showed on the court. We took it to them, and we came out with a big home win against them. Anything stand out to you from that game?
Not really. I mean, it seemed like it was so long ago now. I can't really remember much of what went on. But I know Reed Bailey had a great game, as he tends to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing really well recently.
He has.
Atlantic 10 Player of the Week. We'll get.
Congratulations to Reed.
Reed
Shout out to
Bailey,
Reed. I think he just had a career high too, 32.
32.
Yep.
He's averaging like
After another
28 on this past week.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good basketball player.
Yeah. So we'll touch on that when we talk about our more recent games. But Fordham was great, and they try to muck it up. And
try to get chippy a little bit.
So we responded to that well. I was really proud of the guys. I thought that was good, and that we were feeling good, and kind of led into a little bit of a skid on the road. Obviously winning on the road in this conference is very difficult.
Very much so.
We went up to LaSalle, got off to a super hot start, and then they kind of fought back and made it a game. And at the end, they kind of pulled it out. But that was a close one. And then we went up to Rhode Island,
and that one was heartbreaking.
It was.
Absolute shootout. I mean, we couldn't make them miss in the first half, and then they couldn't make us miss in the second. Ended up being 90 points apiece, down to the wire.
Yeah, literal buzzer beater.
Literal buzzer beater to win the game for them. A one-legged, left-handed bank shot from the top of the key.
That was
3 people.
That was crazy.
If you're going to lose a basketball game, I'd rather lose like that than lose by 20 points.
Obviously we fought, and it was good, and you're seeing all around college basketball these days. These close games are crazy.
Stuff.
It's so entertaining.
I thought I was going to see the shot that he hit on us more on the internet, but I went on Instagram afterwards, and the same day there were about 3 or 4 other crazy buzzer beaters that happened in college basketball to win games. So we just kind of got outshone, I guess. But that's just what college basketball is these days. It's impossible to win anywhere, win any game.
Yep.
It's tough.
Yeah, we're going to keep fighting. I know the other night, Caleb Love, this just came up on my feed. He hit like a 3/4 court shot
on the third
to send it into overtime.
Crazy stuff.
So it's just all around the country. And it is, and now that, we're going to touch on this in a second, but college football is done. So college basketball is king now.
Really starting to shine. Yeah. For good reason, too. It's so interesting.
It is.
I love watching college basketball. It's awesome.
I agree.
Love playing it, too.
It's pretty great. We're pretty lucky. And then going into Richmond, we really bounced back. It was an opportunity for us to respond on the road. Yeah. Like we said, road games are tough, and the team did that. To the fullest, and we got our first conference road win.
Playing Richmond especially, the coaches kind of preached it that no one in the program really is too fond of Richmond as a program and the players they've had and the history that we've had with them, so we really came into that with something to prove.
We did. I never beat them. Neither of us had ever beat them going into the game. So that was the first time we beat Richmond.
That shot I had on the buzzer at our place last year to win the game, and I missed it, and then we ended up losing, and then we lost at their place close to the end as well, controversially. But yeah, it felt good. To get one not only on the road, but also over Richmond.
Yeah, so we're feeling good now. Coming off a road win, this is a bye week for us.
Yep.
We got a midweek bye. We got a nice couple off days. relax, get their body back to where they need to be. Obviously,
you've been a little bit sick, been battling a flu, cold the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've been missing my voice.
Yeah, good thing you got it back.
I don't know if you could tell, it's a little bit raspy, but we're on the tail end of that now.
Giving you some time to recover and get your legs back, and then so we can take on George Mason this weekend.
Yeah, we got a big couple games coming up. Obviously don't want to look past George Mason, who
Not at all.
we've already played him once.
Second in the conference right now. I think they're 7-1 in conference play.
Yeah,
they've been playing
really well.
So hopefully we can come in and slow their roll a little bit.
Yeah, defend home court.
Yeah, exactly.
We had been doing pretty well.
Yeah.
For the season. I know we didn't touch on St. Joe's, but that was kind of the third game.
We can brush over
We
that.
got to continue to defend home court.
Yes.
And then we got Dayton early next week.
Yep,
Obviously,
Tuesday.
going to their place is always a tall task. It's a great environment, so really looking forward to that. And then we have Richmond again at home the next Saturday, so that's kind of a tease into our next 3 games here. Obviously, not looking past George Mason, though.
Of course not. One game at a time.
Circled on our calendars. That's right.
Very much so. Really looking forward to that one, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look forward to every basketball game that we play.
I do, too.
But, yeah. This is the next one, so obviously most to look forward to.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get ready.
You want to get into Swish and Brick and whatnot?
Let's do it.
You want to start us off?
I'll start us off with a Swish.
Yeah.
And I just mentioned it earlier, but college football is officially wrapped up.
Yeah.
Which means college basketball is now the center of the attention in college sports world.
Yeah.
Which is great for us. It's great for me getting home and turning on the TV and seeing 5 college basketball games on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun being able to see it all over social media. And obviously we talked about some of the craziness. The SEC this year is ridiculously good.
Yeah, 54 and 54. That's what you see, that little stat. 54 wins, 54 losses so far, which is impossible. 500 in the conference. Nuts.
Are you being serious right now?
No.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure because there has been some stuff online about some comments people have made about that and taking it serious. So I just wanted to make sure that you didn't.
Jack almost got me with it this morning, and he said it, and I was like, "Really?" And then I took a second and I thought about it. So yeah, no,
that was a funny one on Twitter for sure.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm glad that didn't go over your head.
I'm glad.
That's a Davidson education.
Yeah. Speaking of Davidson education, I'm gonna go with my break.
Okay.
This week. We'll say it's a Swish. It's my Swish this week.
Okay.
Classes being back. Winter break was long.
Yes.
And boring. Practicing in the middle of the day. You feel like because we'd have practice at like 12. And you feel like leading up to practice, you can't really do too much in that first couple of hours of the day. And then you practice, and you leave the gym at 6, and by then it's dark outside. And you go home, you go sleep.
It's an odd experience. You almost feel like a pro, which is good.
Which is nice.
But it does get boring, and you're with all your friends, but it's a little bit lonely because there's no one else on campus.
Exactly.
It's cold.
But now the spring semester is coming. It's getting warmer slowly. It's still pretty cold right now.
It was pretty nice today. I would say it's getting warmer.
But I've enjoyed having something else to focus on, some homework to do. I know that sounds a little corny,
no, I'm completely
I've enjoyed
agree
having
with
something
you.
else to do. So
Absolutely.
that's my Swish this
I
week.
agree. That's
Classes
definitely a
being back.
Swish.
Yeah.
My brick this week is TikTok.
Oh.
And I know this could be controversial because it technically made a comeback. It did go away for maybe a couple hours, and it's been on the hot seat recently. But once it went away, I deleted it off my phone, and I have not brought it back. So that's my brick is TikTok this week. I am off TikTok. I know a couple other people, we were talking about it earlier, agree with me. They did the same thing.
Yeah,
so
I did the same thing too.
TikTok's my brick. I was spending hours and hours doom scrolling on it. And not to say I'm completely off social media. I've, kind of added to my time on some other social media apps like Twitter and Instagram. But not having it distracting me has been a little bit refreshing, I have to say.
Yes. I was the same. I deleted TikTok, and it's not even on the App Store anymore in America. You can't, even if you wanted to re-download it.
Even if I wanted to, I guess I couldn't. So
yeah,
that's a good thing, though.
It's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy about it.
I agree. I think it's a good thing. But it is my brick. Yeah. But it's a good thing.
Yeah. I didn't actually prepare a brick.
Uh-oh.
I'm still trying to come up with one. I came up with my last one off the top of my head just before as well.
Well, that's pretty good.
Maybe we'll get back to that.
Okay.
Later on, we can cut back. We'll be able to cut back to it later on.
They're telling me we could definitely do that.
Maybe. But so, do you want to get into our starting 5?
Yeah, we got a good starting 5.
Great starting 5.
And we teased it a little bit earlier. The X Games are going on right now, so we're a little bit of the Olympic sport vibe. And then Netflix is releasing a a docu-series, and I gotta look up what it's called.
Okay.
Something about the Gold Court.
Hmm.
Court of Gold, releasing February 18th. And it follows along Team USA. It follows along a couple of the other national teams in the Paris 2024 Olympics this past summer.
Which was incredibly entertaining.
It was. So I'm really looking forward to that, and that kind of got us in the mindset of Olympic sports and the Olympic sports that we think we could medal in. So we're going to do a draft of medaling in Olympic sports.
Yes.
What we think we could medal in.
Based on our current, what's the word?
Skills, talents.
Yep.
Interests.
Yeah.
I think I touched on all those in my list here. So
cool.
I don't know who starts. I always forget.
I started the last one. It's your turn.
Okay. So I will start. And this one I hate to do it, but I feel like I have to. It's just
I knew you were gonna.
Naturally basketball.
Yeah.
We've dedicated so much time to this sport, and obviously that's going to be the sport that I think most applies to me in medaling in the Olympics.
Definitely.
An easy 1-1 there.
Yeah, I kind of knew you were going to do that, so I didn't include it on my list.
Smart.
But that's kind of I mean, the USA did win the Olympic gold in basketball, so I feel like it's.
Shout out Steph.
Shout out Steph Curry,
who had a great performance there. That was
we know you're watching, and send us a text or an email or a DM. And come on the podcast. We'd love to have you. $25 Carburritos voucher for you if you come along.
Absolutely.
Sorry, shameless plug there, but we know you're watching. My first pick is going to be rugby sevens.
Okay. I figured you would have a rugby.
Obviously,
pick
I'm a
in
New
yours,
Zealander.
yeah.
You can't play rugby union in the Olympics, I don't think, but they play 7-a-side rugby.
I don't know the difference between either of those two.
In a normal rugby game, there's 15 people on each team on the field. In rugby sevens, same size pitch, 7 people.
Okay.
Very fast-paced. The New Zealand women's team actually won gold in the last Olympics in rugby sevens. Not sure how the men's team went. But I used to play rugby until I started playing basketball when I was 14. And then I had a couple of years when I was 15 and 16 playing both rugby and basketball. So I think I have a bit of a natural...
Okay.
The word's escaping me, but I feel like I've got experience playing rugby, and I'm kind of a bigger guy.
You are built for rugby for sure.
So I feel like I could be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
No complaints there. You're definitely not stealing one off my list.
No,
I've never.
I can't
played
imagine you on
rugby
rugby
before.
field.
I
personally,
couldn't tell you the first rule or strategy.
You're a bit more of a
along with
finesse
that.
guy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my second pick kind of goes along with the same theme of yours. I used to play lacrosse.
Oh.
For a lot of my childhood, since like 2nd or 3rd grade, which was really early in the Chicago area. It's more of an East Coast thing, so that was kind of the first on that wave in my area. And I played all throughout grade school and middle school, and then stopped in high school when I started to focus on basketball.
That's fun.
But I think I was surprised to actually see that it was an Olympic sport. I didn't realize that it was.
I had no idea it was
until yesterday,
That's awesome.
and then I saw it, and I was like, yeah, I think I could medal in lacrosse in the Olympics, so that's going to be my second pick.
Okay, that's a pretty good pick. I feel like the sports we're going for are kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum from each other, which is nice.
I have a feeling our picks might not collide too much. I have a couple ones in here that I feel like you could.
Yeah, probably.
That you could have, but we'll see.
This one you definitely won't.
Okay.
Cricket.
Yep, don't have that one.
Also an Olympic sport.
Okay.
Rightfully so.
Yep.
New Zealand's also very good at cricket, as they are rugby. But I also played a little bit of cricket growing up, as every New Zealander does. Okay. And we get into it a bit with Issy Morgan later in the podcast, but play a lot of cricket on the beach in the summertime in New Zealand. So I'm pretty good. I'm a tall guy, so I'd be a pretty good bowler. You get a bit of speed, getting the ball down there.
You say bowler?
Yeah, that's like a pitcher.
Like a pitcher? Okay.
Yeah. So I think I could bowl it pretty fast.
Got it.
But cricket, I think cricket's my second pick.
That's a good one. Another sport I don't know much about, so can't really speak to that
I'll show you some highlights later. We can put them up on the TV.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
My next pick I'm going to take because I have a feeling you could have this on your list, and I don't think you're going to have the other ones on my list.
Okay.
So I'm going to take surfing next.
Oh, didn't have it on my list.
Okay, so...
Not a good surfer. I've surfed, but I'm not good at it.
So I don't have personal experience surfing like an ocean wave.
Yeah.
But I do have experience wake surfing,
yes.
So I feel like that experience could translate well
definitely
to ocean surfing. It is a little bit different. The boards are way smaller, and it's not exactly the same. But I feel like some of the same skills and techniques can be applied.
So. Yeah.
And I love wake surfing in the summertime. So I think I would enjoy it a lot.
Did you see where they were
Yes.
doing. We had this conversation in the locker room, but where they were competing for the Olympics.
Yeah, it was
surfing.
beautiful.
It was incredible.
Do you
Massive
remember what it was like?
island
French
country.
something?
French Polynesia.
Yes.
Somewhere. I don't know what the exact island was.
It was beautiful.
It was incredible.
Yeah. I would just try to do surfing just so I could take a vacation
Exactly.
there.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with my third pick now.
All right.
I've got a couple on my list. I'll save that for my last pick.
I do too. There was a lot of, I looked up Olympic sports, and there's a lot of unique ones and kind of cool ones that I didn't realize.
I'm going to go
Olympic sports.
Drawing on my previous experiences as well, karate.
Okay.
Because Matt likes to tell people, because my dad is a black belt
That's
in
right.
Kung Fu. And he would take me along, and I did Kung Fu until I was about 12, and I was a green belt. No, I was an orange belt with a green stripe.
Okay.
I was almost a green belt. So I've got a little bit of experience with that. Matt used to tell me that he would tell people, oh, he's a real tough guy. And both of those I played till I was like 12, 14, so I don't really know where he got that from. But, karate's going to be my third pick.
All right. That's a cool one. I've never seen karate being played as a sport before.
It's pretty cool. They could put like the pads and stuff on and just kick each other in the head a bunch.
Sounds fun.
It's pretty cool.
All right.
Pretty cool to watch.
For my fourth pick, I'm going to go with alpine skiing.
Okay.
A winter sport. Have we picked any winter sports yet?
No?
Yeah, I love the Winter Olympics. I think it's a lot of fun to watch.
That's pretty cool,
So sharing some love with that. I used to go skiing as a kid.
Yeah.
I
can't really do it too much anymore being a basketball player.
Yeah, I stopped
Knees are
for
pretty
that
important.
exact reason, for injury prevention, but I love to ski. So if I were to pursue a different career, I wasn't trying to protect myself for basketball. I think alpine skiing could be something I would have a chance to medal in.
That'd be
Skiing's
fun.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, I went skiing a couple of times
being
as
up
a
on
kid
the mountain, it's
incredible.
It's sweet. It's freeing. So
It's freeing.
yeah,
Definitely.
I think I can get gold in it.
Yeah, they do some pretty cool stuff. Alpine skiing, is that like the racing kind of one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That looks horrible. I'm going to go for my fourth pick. Shooting.
Okay. I
You know,
figured that one was going to be on
The
your
little
list.
target shooting.
Yep.
Both of my parents were in the military for 15, 20 years. I grew up around it. Grew up shooting guns. So I feel like I'm pretty handy.
Yeah.
I've got pretty good aim.
Handy, yeah.
I'd be
Similar to
able
you on the basketball court. You're shooting threes.
Yeah, not free throws. But threes. Yes.
That's right.
So shooting. I'm going to go with shooting for my fourth pick.
All right. I think I'm going to stick with the Winter Olympics theme here.
Okay.
And this is a sport that not very popular, but I feel like gets a lot of attention, and that is curling.
Curling.
Yeah, I enjoy watching it. We have
Speaking of
another
curling, we've got
visitor
Mr.
here.
Biceps coming in over here. Come on, Zach Laporte.
friendly
Zach Laporte, guys.
visitor,
Yep.
taking Nick's spot today for the interruption of our podcast.
Yep.
Anyway, curling. I've never done it before, but I
Pretty
feel like I could be good at it. I don't know.
Would you be a sweeper or a tosser?
I think I'd want to be the tosser.
Yeah.
When you actually,
'Cause they
throw it.
just-
that seems when you
And
glide.
they kind of yell at the people
it's
with
like,
the brooms.
Yeah, it's like almost like majestic how they
Yeah.
just glide and let it go. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very cool sport, and I don't really know anything about it, and I don't really have a reason for picking it at 5. But I just feel like that's something that I could figure out
Yeah. Okay.
more from enjoyment.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be.
purposes than
I'd-
actual
I would
technique.
sweep for you. We could get a
Okay.
third, and we could get a curling team going. That'd
All
be
right,
fun.
let's do it.
Yeah. I wonder how you get into that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any curlers
No.
personally,
Yeah.
and I only ever see it during the Olympics.
Yeah. Probably.
We could look into
just
that.
Those niche European.
Next year we'll have a
Yeah.
Davidson curling podcast instead of
That'd be
Davidson basketball
awesome.
podcast.
Let's do that.
All right.
Okay, my last pick. Breakdancing.
I had that one on honorable mentions.
Yeah. We have Izzy Morgan on later in the
Yep.
podcast, and there was a bit of controversy at this last Olympics. The Ray Gunn, the Australian break dancer,
Yep.
that torched it, but then got it thrown out of the Olympics. I was thinking if they brought me on, they'd bring it back.
Okay.
You've seen me on the dance floor.
I have seen you dance. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Hips don't
I
lie.
could speak for Hunter.
Yeah.
He could definitely have a shot at medaling.
Yeah, exactly.
In
So
dancing.
that's what I was thinking. I'd say I'm one of the better dancers on the team.
Yeah, which the bar is not very high.
No.
I will say.
Basketball
That's
players,
actually very
we're a
low.
little stiff when we
Yes.
move, but I feel like I like to get down dirty. So, yeah, I'm gonna go breakdancing for
Okay,
my fifth
that's a
pick.
good pick.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I mean, it highlights some of the oddness in the Olympic sports.
Yeah.
There's obviously some sports that we have, like basketball and rugby, that are a little bit more
Okay, that's-
streamlined. I don't know
okay,
if
I thought you-
rugby is, but it's a little bit more popular. You see it more as a sport. Breakdancing, I
No.
never really thought
Somewhat
of
of
that as
a
a
hobby.
sport. Yeah, more
Yeah.
of something fun to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very very odd, but nevertheless an Olympic sport and one that you have a shot of medaling in. So
Yep.
fair enough.
Did you have a fifth
This is
pick?
good. I started.
Oh,
I
cool.
already did my fifth pick,
So let us know what you think.
that's
We'll
the
have the poll
list,
up
yeah.
on the Instagram as we usually do, I think. I think I've got this one fair and square. Again, I'm really trying to capture my proportion of followers for
You
my
did-
votes
you
with
did capture
cricket and
yours,
rugby
yeah.
and whatnot. But I think they'll put me over the edge this time. I think I've lost a couple in a row now.
Yeah, I'm on a roll a little bit here. I don't know for sure,
Yeah.
but I feel like I'm on a roll.
But that's okay.
Maybe we'll have to demonstrate some of these Olympic sports
Yeah,
at some
I'll
point.
send Danny a picture of me dancing or a video of me dancing so we can get that in there.
Okay, a little
Maybe.
visual aid.
Maybe.
Maybe
yeah.
I have some old lacrosse highlights that could
Definitely.
I
I could definitely find some old
convince
rugby
people that I'm
highlights.
a good lacrosse player.
Of me trucking a kid. That'd be fun. But yeah, so with that, we're going to get into our interview with Issy Morgan.
Let's do it.
She's great, charismatic, and we hope you guys enjoy. We'd like to welcome on Issy Morgan, our first women's basketball player to the podcast. Izzy, how are you?
I'm great. Huge fan of the Inside Out show, so
Thank you
really
very
honoured
much.
to be here today. Yeah, very excited.
That's great. We wanted to start asking about your guys' season so far. You've started off 5-3 in conference play,
Mhm.
6th place in the A10. You guys have got off to a pretty hot start. I saw you beat St. Louis by 50-something points. That was pretty impressive. You guys had some good wins,
Yep.
some close losses too. So yeah, just let us know how that's going, how you guys feel around the program, all that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a rough start, definitely. We had, I think, 6 or 7 new players, so definitely a very brand new team. So our non-conference was definitely a journey and
I
one
bet.
that was, a big learning curve for all of us. So I don't know, I think kind of us coming together a little bit better by conference was really great. We had a big first conference win against Duquesne. It was a really tough team, and then followed up with a tough win against Rhode Island, LaSalle. So yeah, we've definitely showed a lot of promise so far, but it gets to the mid conference times, things get a little rough. So definitely just trying to navigate through some of that. for
Yeah,
sure.
it definitely gets a little monotonous.
Yeah.
Almost boring maybe sometimes, so I wouldn't say that exactly, but it does get
I know what you're
tough. I know what you're saying. Do you
Yeah.
think there was a point in the season where you guys kind of hit like a turning point? Obviously you started conference playoff really hot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that was a turning point in your season? Do you think something clicked? Like what went on there?
Well, obviously we had a lot of injuries last year, so we were missing a few players. But coming into this year, we were actually gaining players as we went along, which was awesome. So I think when it clicked for us was probably NC State. Lost by 2, had a shot to win the game. That was like a really, really good game for us. I think they were ranked 23rd at the time. But yeah, I think coming away from that game, it was like, oh no, like we're in this. Like we're actually
yeah.
really good. So that was definitely the clicking point. And then I think from that game we went on to beat UNC Pembroke or Presbyterian by 30, and then we beat UNC Charlotte as well by a fair amount after that. And so that was really the turning point, gave us a lot of momentum going into conference. So we definitely did have some good momentum going into conference by the end of non-conference, which was huge.
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple injuries and getting people back.
Yep.
You are kind of working through an injury right now. Obviously, you have the boot. I don't know if the cameras can
Yep.
see it, but there's a boot down there. A little bit of bruising. Talk about that injury and then your road to recovery, how soon you're going to be back.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. Obviously, it's annoying in the middle of conference. Like, you feel like you're getting into a groove, and it's a little bit of a, pause. But I don't know. Our team has so much depth, so it's like we're not really worried about it. We've got so many people who are just, like, able to get it done, which is great. And, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of depth, do you have anyone you want to shout out from your team that's been playing really well? I know Charlize Dunn had 32 points on George Mason. You've had some good performances from Millie Pryor.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Katie Donovan's been playing really well. So you want to shout out any of them? How they've been playing?
Definitely. I mean, Charlize, when she gets hot, is, like, pretty incredible to watch. And assertive Millie is also incredibly fun.
Monster on the defensive end.
End,
Yeah.
absolutely. And on the offensive end when she wants to be.
Yeah.
And we got Katie Donovan, who just like will have the quietest 20-point game you've ever seen in your life. She's just so good at just like doing the right things all the time. Like she's always in the right spot. Like she has such good feel for the game. I think shouting out some of our freshmen as well. So Candice Leonafa, Kira Brundonks as well. They've been huge for us this year. Kira as well, stepping into more of a point guard role as well as of recently, which obviously being a freshman point guard is very tough. So I think she's been handling that really well. I think like this group of freshmen that we have is like the most coachable group of girls we've ever had, which is just like incredible for the culture of our team, for the chemistry. So yeah, that's huge.
And they all come from different places, don't they?
Yep.
I've heard some things about them being called different nicknames or something.
Yeah, the
referring to
United
their
Nations, definitely.
Yeah, different backgrounds.
Yeah, it's, well, obviously you guys get it as well, having a very international team, but this is definitely the most international freshman class we've probably ever had. We've got, Deja, jump in here if I get it wrong, but we've got Montreal, but like French Canadian, that's Candice. We've got Hungary, Adina, Belgium, Kira, Australia, Emily Bessel, and America, Sienna.
Very good.
So coming from a little bit of everywhere, which is awesome.
Yeah, us international guys, we have a joke sometimes when we're having shooting competitions and stuff that the loser has to get deported if they lose the shooting competition.
We have a lot of
So we put our visas on the line when we're shooting competitions.
100%.
That's funny. Yeah, we wanted to talk a little bit more about that Australian connection. Obviously, you've got James, who's an assistant coach. Who is an Australian, and there's been quite a pipeline recently of Australian players coming through. You want to talk a little bit about that and the connection James has to your homeland?
Yep, for sure. I mean, James has been huge in obviously creating that pipeline of Australians to come. And I think it just started like Cassidy Gold was the first Australian to play here, and she just had like such a positive experience here. Davidson as well is really great for the internationals. Like you have a host family, they're the best. I absolutely love my host mum, Amy. Shout out.
My host mum's name is also Amy, so
really?
Shout out Amy Ware.
There you go, Amy squared.
Yep.
We love you.
Love you.
But and I think just like, you have Australians like looking at where to go for college, and then you hear other Australians be like, oh, I've had such a great experience here. I love this place. So that definitely helps. And same for me, like I would tell any young Australian looking to go to college, like, come to Davidson. Like, it's fantastic.
Yep. Absolutely. Do you think there is a rivalry between, this is kind of for both of you now, do you think there's a rivalry between Australia and New Zealand?
It's definitely one-sided. I don't think Australia thinks about New Zealand
classic Australian
at all.
answer.
So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Hunter, you can expand if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, to call it a rivalry is kind of tough. Like, obviously, this kind of hurts my pride a little bit as a New Zealander, but the only things we kind of ever really win in versus Australia are like sometimes cricket, but then like track and field sports, and otherwise like
rugby?
You guys rugby we actually know. Sorry,
yeah.
The All Blacks are much better than the Springbok.
Oh, not much.
It's not the Springbok. What's your team called?
Nice.
The Wallabies.
Wallabies and it's the Wallabies and the.
You guys definitely couldn't hold a candle to us in women's rugby. That's for sure. Our girls are far superior.
I think who won the last Olympics?
I think it was us.
Was it New Zealand?
I think so.
Did US win it this year?
No, New Zealand women's.
New Zealand won again this year?
Yep.
I respect that. Shout out New Zealand women's rugby
New Zealand,
team.
the White Ferns. Something like that.
Yeah.
I actually had, so we were going to do a little segment. You guessing New Zealand slang.
Oh, nice. Okay. This has got to be similar. I was going to say, when it comes to a rivalry, I feel like when it comes to rivalries in general, I think New Zealand and Australia can band together against the Americans.
We can, yes.
I think that's naturally what happens.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Absolutely. So
I've got a couple here. Siebes. Have you ever heard the term Siebes before?
Can't be bothered.
Yeah, okay.
Nice. Yeah,
got
here
that
we go.
one.
Keep on.
Wop wops.
Wop wops?
Wop wops.
Wop wops?
Wop wops or just the wops?
Oh, maybe you're sick?
Not at all.
Oh no.
It's like the bush.
Oh, like whoop whoop.
Yeah,
okay,
I guess.
Maybe that's just a pronunciation
difference. Could be, but that's like the outback, like the bush.
Okay, yeah, we would say whoop whoop.
Okay,
definitely. Okay.
Chili bin.
Chili bin.
Chili bin.
Like the ice tub.
No.
Ice bath. A bin. The chili bin.
Like a cooler. It's a cooler.
Oh, like an esky.
Like an esky.
Yeah,
I know you guys
okay,
call them
okay,
eskies.
that makes sense. This makes sense. This makes sense.
And then
Wow, I'm surprised I don't know these.
yeah, and then I've got 2 more. Hard case. You guys say that?
A hard case.
Yeah.
Like a head case. Like someone who's just like tough work.
Yeah, somewhat. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
Peyton's a hard case. Tough guy, you know. It's like
That's a lot of context. Yeah, that's good. I get it.
You just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
call someone a hard case if they're just doing silly stuff, I guess.
That's-
Kind of on the same wave, playing silly buggers. You guys say playing silly buggers? Playing silly buggers?
Is that like playing silly buggers? That's a funny one.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Those kids
Like-
are just running around playing silly buggers.
Like they're just
Getting up to
just being
mischief.
it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that one.
No.
I don't know what the equivalent would be.
Yeah.
Running amok.
Running
I feel
amok.
like that's pretty universal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Silly buggers.
Connor, do you know all of these?
No, I do not. I feel really out of place right now. I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah, for real. Connor, how do you feel as an American having such an international team? What's that like?
I think it's awesome. You know,
Mm.
the diversity on our team, having guys like Hunter and Ricky, you know, getting to experience, and we have debates all the time about not only we do very much so about basketball,
Yeah.
and the different, you know, USA versus, and we actually talk about the Olympics. And
I was going to say the Olympics would have been electric for you guys this year. Yeah.
So we touched on that a little bit, but
Mhm.
it is really unique about Davidson, and it's pretty cool. And I was actually going to ask you, is there anything about the American culture, I guess Hunter, you too, but coming over here that surprised you or took a little bit of time getting used to, or were you kind of just
There's a
right
lot.
into it?
There's definitely a lot, but I feel as though, well, there's been a couple of things. I've had multiple instances where like people just don't know what I'm saying, and Hunter, I'm sure you've experienced that a lot.
I do, yes.
So actually, funny story about Coach Matt McKillop. Me and Rosie Deegan, shout out Rosie, miss you. She just recently graduated from here. We were shooting on the gun, getting shots up. And he walks in with his 2 daughters to say hi to us. And me and Rosie were having a full conversation with them, like chopping it up. And they like, after we say anything, they like, look at dad, like, and you know, Matt will repeat the question. And then like they leave and Rosie asks, or Rosie's little daughter asks Matt, like, Dad, like what language were they speaking? So it's just like little things like that. My host mom actually is someone else who I can't speak as fast as I usually would because she can't understand what I'm saying. Definitely the lingo. There's been like some language barriers for sure. I think that I've realized that there's a lot of people who really don't know much about Australia.
Yeah.
I've had some really fun questions been asked me, actually.
Yeah, we
I
were
got-
going to get into that. What kind of silly things Americans have asked you
Absolutely,
about
this is a
being in
great
Australia?
segue into it. I have quite a few. So Connor might learn some new things here. Actually, I don't know how much he knows, but so recently, actually yesterday or maybe the day before, I was asked if Australia has a national anthem.
Oh.
So that's a good question. Yes, we do.
Australians
Every
all
nation,
eat
actually.
sausages
That's
for
close. That's the
breakfast, lunch,
Connor.
and
Can you sing?
tea.
Do you know what the New Zealand national anthem is? No.
No, I have no idea. Maybe Hunter could put on a rendition for us. There's been a lot of singing on this podcast. Manny has sung the
The British national anthem,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty special. Awesome.
So I don't know, the Australian national anthem. You
Hunter
wanna-
had the tune
you
for
think you could
sure.
sing it?
Lyrics weren't quite there.
Let's hear it.
Hunter, do you know the American national anthem off by heart by now? Surely you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
of course.
me too.
Yeah.
Anyways, continuing on. What else? I'm sure, Hunter, you've experienced some of the same things, but obviously the seasons are flipped.
Yes.
So
yes.
I've had someone ask me if I knew who Santa was because they thought that Australians didn't have Christmas.
Americans do have a hard time getting their head around the fact that we have a
Yes.
Christmas in the summertime.
Right, which then begs the question, which is better?
Yeah.
A hot Christmas or a winter Christmas?
It is a winter Christmas, and it's not even close. That's not even a good question.
What
Come
would
on.
you say, Hunter? After experiencing both, what do you think?
I mean, I had a pretty enjoyable Christmas this year. But there's nothing beats a Kiwi Christmas, playing cricket on the beach.
I was going to say beach cricket. Exactly.
Beach cricket.
I agree.
I've talked about cricket on this podcast before, and I
Yeah.
haven't got any love from anyone else
Okay,
about
no,
it.
yeah, that's like
But
that's
beach
really
cricket
close to
on
home
Christmas
for me.
is great.
Absolutely.
And yeah, just being out in the sun, I feel like it's so much
just
better.
a barbecue outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go for a swim on
Yeah.
Christmas Day. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Like, what could be better?
I actually did that 2 Christmases ago here. I jumped in Lake Norman on Christmas Day,
Wow.
just trying to keep the tradition alive.
Right.
But it was
not the
freezing-
same,
was
isn't
freezing
it? It's
cold.
not the same. Yeah, for
no,
sure.
it was
I
horrible.
did have Christmas in New York this year, actually,
Yeah, how was that?
which was like spectacular. So I can see the appeal.
There's
but
something to be said about a white Christmas. So there's
Right.
nothing about like a white Christmas.
I can see that.
That's just. I feel like that's how Christmas is supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little biased, but and once again, Connor hasn't experienced both. Like me and Hunter can kind of compare the
I
two.
haven't.
So
I still think you guys are both biased towards your
naturally a little.
towards your
bit.
homeland
Naturally
Christmas.
a little bit.
Yeah.
This is probably actually the best one I have. So like when people ask me silly questions like this, like, do you know who Santa is? Like, am I going to be like, of course I know who Santa is? Like, no, I'm going to be like, who is that? Like, what are you talking about? So I do this quite frequently. I actually, and I'm not legally allowed to name names here, but I had a teammate ask me if there were birds in Australia.
Oh.
Yeah, Deja, hush. Hush from the corner there. And she would kill me if she saw this. But yeah, so I think maybe I got like frightened by something, like a bird like flew past. And I was like, what was that? And she was like, you don't have birds in Australia? And I was like, a what? Like, what are you talking about? And she was like, oh my gosh, like there are no birds in Australia. She's like, no, you're lying. And I was like, how would the birds get to Australia? Like they'd have to fly over the entire ocean. Like, of course we don't have birds. And so then she spent the next week like fully believing that we actually didn't have any birds in Australia.
That is hilarious.
And then like later mentioned it in front of another group of friends who were then like, what are you talking about? So we've had some pretty intense arguments about that afterwards because I forgot to tell her that I was joking. But yeah, that's probably the most memorable one about Americans believing silly things.
I've had some silly ones. I often ask people when I tell them I'm from New Zealand, I ask for them to find it on the map.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the amount of times that they've pointed to Tasmania.
I
like,
can,
"Is
you know
that
what?
New
You know what?
Zealand?"
That's not the worst that
Yeah.
it could be. You know, like
yeah, you're right.
just off the coast of Australia, I can
Yeah.
kind of see it.
I kinda
A
get
lot
it.
of people probably wouldn't even know that Tasmania is a part of Australia. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's
No,
not the
the
worst.
same thing. I've heard
Charlie actually told me that she had someone point to Greece when asking
Greece?
to point out Australia on the map.
that's impressive.
Right? Because I
Yeah.
feel like Australia is pretty identifiable.
Yeah.
It's like just large continent by itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
But New Zealand, I guess, I've heard something that in America they teach you that the continent, like we learn it as the continent of Oceania, right?
Mhm.
They learn it as the continent of Australia. And everyone always
Yeah.
thinks that New Zealand is just a part of Australia.
Yes.
So I feel like that's
This
where
is
it comes
true.
from. Maybe that's just the educational system in America failing
Yeah.
its kids.
Connor, do you think you could confidently
But-
point out Australia and New Zealand on a map?
Yes. We have the little thing out in the
Oh,
hallway
that's
with the
huge.
dots on
That's
it, which
huge.
does
That's
help
good.
a lot.
Oh, we do. We have that as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
it
With
is helpful.
where everyone's from. No, that's awesome.
I think I could do it before I came here too. I'm confident in my geographical
That's a big call.
knowledge.
That's huge.
Well, you got anything else? I feel like I'm like third wheeling almost here with all this with all this
International
Australian
talk.
New Zealand talk. I don't
So
know
true.
exactly where to inject myself into this conversation, but no, this was fun.
For sure. Thanks so much for having me on, guys.
Thank you for being on. This was great. And that wraps up another episode of the Inside Out Show presented by Carburritos. As always, we want to thank you all for watching and tuning in.
And we wanted to remind you to come to our game this Saturday versus George Mason, Pack Belk Arena. It is the International Student and Host Family Appreciation Game, so we're going to have a lot of host families there.
There you go.
My host family hopefully is going to be there. Manny's host family could hopefully be there. And we would just want to show appreciation to them and everything they do for us. So get down to Belk Arena Saturday, 4 p.m. versus George Mason, and hope to see you there.
Absolutely. And with that, I just want to remind everyone to stop by Carburritos and mention Davidson Basketball or the Inside Out Show and get a free chips and salsa with order of an entree. Again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.